Hi, my name is Tanya Sanders, and I'm an educational technology specialist for NWOET. We are a nonprofit organization that does professional development for teachers, K through 12 teachers, private and public school districts in Northwest Ohio. Um, I'm going to be doing a series here on blended and remote learning, and it has 5 videos. It's going to be a YouTube series. Obviously, you know that now if you've located this. But this is the first of the 5 videos. This one is going to be about what is blended learning, defining it, and then we're going to go into and explore the types of blended learning. Then I'm going to go over some suggested steps, tips and tricks, and then we're going to end with some best practices for building or starting your blended learning project. We also are going to include some web resources. A web link will be shown you at the end of this video, in each video, and it will also be included in the YouTube comments and information for each video. I will give suggested assignments. They're not required, but it's just a nice way for you to continue thinking about blended learning. And then finally, we have an assessment that we used for contact hours. And if you get an 80% or higher on the assessment, then you will receive via email an automatic certificate already signed for you. All you have to do is print it and utilize it however you need to. So what is blended learning? All of these definitions pretty much mean the same, but I continue to research what is blended learning and found different ways of people saying it. And so these are not word for word. I just kind of put them in my own words. But it is a combination of being face-to-face in that traditional classroom and adding that online instruction. It will have, okay, so a lot of times when people thought of blending when it first came out, because blending's been around for a long time, blended learning was when you just integrated technology into your regular traditional classroom, your regular face-to-face. So the face-to-face is going to be in the school, in your classroom, class activities, lab activities, and then the online portion is going to be via distance, digital, online, however they want to talk about it. But it's multiple teaching methods, different types of learning design used together so students can learn more effectively. And the main thing that I'm going to be talking about is they both are connected and they need to work harmoniously. So if I have my face-to-face class and I'm working on some curriculum aspects and introducing a lesson and doing some things with that, then I need to connect that to whatever I'm having them to do online. So it all has to work together perfectly. Not perfectly, but close enough. So some of my suggestions that I'm giving you is start slow, okay? I'm going to talk more about this in the final video, but you're going to create a support group. This team of people are going to be your reference, your place to go to help people or help you understand and build that course to make it work for you. Be patient, of course, be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to your students, be kind to parents. It's going to be, if you have not been doing it, basically it's going to be a challenge for you, for your students, and just kind of walk through this with, kind hands and kind eyes and kind emotions, because you want to be able to turn this into a successful process. So have an open mind. And while you're doing that process, you need to have your ears open, listen, and adjust your lesson based on what what changes need to happen. So if your students are struggling in a certain area, you might want to analyze that and take this to your support group and say, what can I do differently here, and adjust the plan from there. And a lot of times school districts have like a SAMR, a rigor and relevance model, but they have a technology model that tells them how to use, at which level you're using technology. So the digital aspect, the online aspect of blended learning, obviously suggests that we need to use some kind of technology or digital resources. So make sure you're implementing those digital tools and you're replacing certain things to improve them. So if I normally would give a lecture to my students, maybe I could record a lecture like through Zoom or some screencasting. I could also utilize things like Edpuzzle or TED Ed, Educanon, um, and YouTube, just basic YouTube videos, Khan Academy. Those kind of things can help replace and improve maybe a process that you used originally. If you used to have a discussion in class, that could be replaced by other tools that will help you make those interactions happen. Now, to connect between both environments, the best thing to do there is create a syllabus connecting all the lessons to each other. So if you have a bunch of lessons, which we're used to writing units and lessons within our classroom, maybe write a syllabus like universities do and have everything in a paced timeline of the way that it's going to occur or roll out for your students. And then just look at that syllabus and see how the lesson is flowing, you know, have your support group look at it, and then make improvements and adjustments based on what is happening to make sure that there's connections there. You don't want to have them doing something in your classroom and then not giving them something to reinforce it online. So that's kind of important, is to make those connections so the students are like, why am I doing this? In class we were doing this thing and now I'm home and online and I'm doing something totally unrelated. So it can seamlessly work together, and like I said, harmoniously. You want to see that those things are hand in hand. We need to be helpful when doing this from every aspect. The parents might be confused, the students can be confused. We want to help students get online, whether it be they don't have Wi-Fi or they don't know how to log in. They've never been used their user IDs. This is the first time that they've used a certain learning management system or website or whatever you're doing. You want to give them resources to help them do that. You want to teach them, you want to guide them. You also want to be flexible during this time. You know, a disciplined flexibility that everybody's moving forward in the correct direction, but you want to teach and guide the students. The focus is in a old-fashioned traditional classroom. I'm not saying that all classrooms are this way now in their traditional teaching, but it's the way that research defines traditional. Is we stand up, we lecture, we give them seat work. A lot of you probably are not teaching that way. But the definite focus on blended learning in this type of learning design is the student is the center of the learning. And what does that mean? That means I'm not telling them and feeding them and giving them the information as a teacher. I'm giving them guidance and moving them in a direction that they are responsible for the journey of learning. The way that you should be using face-to-face, you should be introducing things. You should be reinforcing the things that you are trying to have them do online, helping them, hands-on activities, labs, having them practice certain things in collaborative groups, cooperative groups, however you want to do that in your class time. And you're going to see in the second video in this series, you're going to see the different types of blended learning and the way that they do that with those. So some of those may be incorrect based on whichever blended learning you choose. And actually both of these could be the same thing. I mean, you can do, for online, you could also do some introductions of things. But basically, research shows that the things that you should be primarily doing online, giving them additional content with supplemental activities to help them understand the concept that you were doing face-to-face, giving them practice, reinforcement, and then allowing them to collaborate with that information and build off the stuff that you're doing face-to-face. And then when they come in face-to-face, you can address the issues, fix those issues, reintroduce if you need, reinforce the stuff that you're trying to work on. So I'm only going to briefly in this video talk about what are the different types of blended learning. I'm just going to introduce them, and then the second video is going to be getting into more detail of those. But you have station rotation and lab rotation, which are very similar. I put those together because of that reason. remote learning, which is kind of what a lot of districts have been doing in the last 3-4 months here, and the flipped classroom, which is one of my favorites, and project-based learning, which is one of a lot of times districts are asking me to teach that one because I just love it so much. There are others. These are the ones that I felt were the most realistic in what you wanted to do. In a blended, I don't want to get too crazy in a blended learning environment if you're new to it. So I just wanted to kind of introduce some of those. Obviously, you don't have to switch it up. You could basically just do what it's defined as, is I'm face-to-face and I'm doing this instruction and I'm connecting it to the technology that I'm using that when they're outside of class. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about these in the second video. Now, for your assignment, I want you to think about ways you can connect your face-to-face and online environments. It may seem pretty simple to you, and that's great. Just jot it down on a piece of paper, scratch piece of paper, or a Google Doc, or whatever tool you enjoy using. But I want you to start thinking about, how can I make connections? What am I already doing? I'm not having them do anything at home. Now I'm going to have them do some things at home. How can that connect to what I'm doing face to face? I think that's just good to get your brain rolling in that direction. Like I had said, there are going to be resources on a website. This will also be in the comments of the YouTube video, the video information. This one specifically is for blended, and those resources, supplemental activities will be on there. And again, the assignment is not required, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to the website. You don't have to do the assignment. I just want you to start thinking about it. And then you do get a certificate if you go through all 5 of these videos. All of them added up in the required work will be determined on that assessment. You'll answer that assessment, and if you get an 80% or higher, then automatically you will get a certificate in your email that you can print out and use for contact hours. Really a kind of a nifty process. Also, if you are interested in our videos, please subscribe to our channel. And anytime we upload some new information, you'll get notified, which is kind of nice. And I'm hoping to build more and more of these series. I already have several series completed that you might be interested in as well. So I'll see you in the next video.